Greetings! Here in the kitchen this time to make brownies. These have some ginger in them, which makes them a little bit different. I don't make brownies a lot, so usually when I make brownies, this is what I make. So let's get started. Okay, oh, this is a little bit too warm. That's like half a cup of butter in there. Technically, you're supposed to melt the butter melt the chocolate without the butter, but that can kind of be easier said than done sometimes. So, putting butter in, and it's too hot. You just make sure that, okay, how much is one of these squares? One square is 28 grams. I just want to make sure that each one, like, do you mean one square or one rectangle is 28 grams? I don't know, I haven't used chocolate in a while. 225 grams, okay, so I think that one square is 2 rectangles. Anyway, I've got half a cup of butter there, and I'm putting in 8 ounces of chocolate because you just got to be a little bit extra. And extra is what this recipe is. Normally I get lazy and I don't actually melt the chocolate. I just use cocoa powder and butter, but this is for a work potluck, so I'm gonna go the extra mile. Alright, I'm gonna leave this melting for a while and do some other stuff in the meantime, like clear off the counter, because yeah, I don't have any counter space at the moment. Okay. Okay, I think it's all melted. I should have let it start to simmer, but that's what happened. I'm going to turn that off and let it cool, and I will be back once I'm making more of a move. Okay, here we go again. I meant to just soften this and I just kind of melted it, so that is another half a cup of butter. So I want half a teaspoon of salt. My hands aren't dirty. That is, well, it depends on your definition of dirty. That's nail polish because it's in progress. It'll all get cleaned up when I shower. What am I doing? That's half a teaspoon of salt, a quarter teaspoon of cloves. Oh shoot, I just realized I forgot to grate the ginger. Okay, cloves, a little bit goes a long way. Quarter teaspoon. How much nutmeg? Quarter teaspoon also goes a long way. That's too much. Quarter teaspoon, close enough. Okay, now I have to grate the ginger, so I'll be right back. 2 tablespoons of grated ginger. Oak. Mix, mix, mix. That's a hunk of butter, not ginger. Okay. Now we hit up the sugar. There's a lot of sugar in this, and the proper recipe calls for it on another cup and a half. But I've made this enough times to know that that's too much sugar. Okay, how much brown sugar do I want? 1 cup. Just found a lump. If you've never had chocolate covered ginger, highly recommend. I've only ever found it once, like at a random airport, but it's good. Okay. Cup of sugar. Ooh, sorry about that noise. And a I've spent my entire life thinking that this is corn syrup, and I just recently discovered that it's not. Like literally my entire life. And I don't know, the syrup we traditionally in my family use it on dough dogs, which is deep fried bread dough. Also a good time. Or actually, I'm gonna mix this up a bit first. Dough dogs are on top of baking powder biscuits. Also good. I prefer the baking powder biscuits to the dough dogs because they're much easier to make. Yeah, and literally every recipe that I've ever seen that calls for corn syrup, I've used this. And I've never actually tried real corn syrup because, you know, I just thought this was corn syrup. It's like one of those things. You spend decades thinking something's one thing, but it's just, I think it's like, it's cane sugar and something. Cane sugar ingredients. Why can't I find the ingredients? I just saw them earlier. Okay, 100% pure cane syrup. So I guess it's made from sugar cane. But then I think that it's got like lemon or something in it, because once I found out that it's not corn syrup, I actually looked it up, and it's got some kind of acidic thing in it to make it whatever it is. And it even says on the package, can be used in place of corn syrup. But I thought it was corn syrup. I don't even know how I found this out, but my mind was blown. I'm trying to make sure that my brown sugar doesn't have any lumps. Maybe lump free. I think I'm close enough to lump free. Okay, then I want 2/3 of a cup of this. Okay, now I'm gonna set this down to the side. I was gonna pre-measure it and then I didn't do that. 2/3. In my opinion, this is plenty of sweetness. An extra 1.5 cups of sugar seems a little bit extra. I must have made this mistake and come to this realization enough times that I actually crossed it out in the recipe. This one's from a random holiday baking magazine. And I really should like flip through it and see if there's anything else in there that I want to make. I just found these, and you know, that's that. Worth the $4 spent however many years ago. Yes. Not looking like brownies yet, but we'll get there. Okay, I need to put some of this stuff away that I'm done using. Okay, next. I want 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Close enough. And I want 6 eggs. So this is 10 egg whites because, you know, I save my egg yolks. And I figure 10 is close enough to the equivalent of 6 eggs. This is where it would be handy to have more butter in this mixture, but oh well, I don't have that. But I've used enough egg whites. Well, 8 of those are already frozen. And now I've got almost enough to make a batch for Phil's cat food for yolks. Not that I need to make a batch for a couple weeks. Well, it's a few weeks. Okay, what am I doing now? Okay, let's just put the chocolate in now. Chocolate. Why am I not using a spatula? I'm gonna get one of those. spatula. Just notice it's got cat hair on it. There's cat hair in the air. Okay. I try really hard not to get any cat hair in anything that I make for work. If it's just for me, I don't care. But if it's for other people, it matters more. Okay. I don't need to get every drop of chocolate out of this because I'm going to reuse it for something else chocolate related as I proceed to try to get every last drop of chocolate out of it. Ugh. Okay. Chocolate. Now it's starting to look like brownies. It actually looks darker when I just use cocoa. It's got 8 ounces of chocolate in it. That's plenty. Okay. Last thing is 1.5 cups of flour. Make sure that it's the last thing. Yes. 1 cup. 1/2 cup. Mix in. Once I found a recipe that said it was for the best brownies ever, but it was like so ridiculously. I wanted you to be so precise, like measuring the amount of flour and like the number of times you can mix something. Like by measuring, I mean like literally weighing it down to the ground. Like, no, I'm not here for that. I'm here for like eyeing it up and close enough, and if it's not going to work eyed up close enough, it's not meant to be. It's not worth it. Because I made the brownies and they weren't even that good. These look good. I knew it. Oh, lucky. This might be overmixed, but I also don't care about that. Okay, so you're supposed to put this into a 9x13 pan, but because I'm bringing it to work and I want to have some for myself before I go to work, splitting it up between 2 pans. Give me a second and get some stuff out of the way. So what I have is this little pan for me, and this pan for work, which I think will be close enough to the equivalent of 9x13. Okay, so I'm going to take out some. Why am I scooping it out instead of just... Yes, let's do it that way. Brownies. I haven't had these in quite a while, probably a couple of years. The hardest part is usually finding which recipe book they're in. I've had worse problems in my life than finding which recipe book. Oh, it's so frustrating. Like I know exactly what I want to make, but I can't find the recipe. It's so frustrating. Okay. My earphone is falling out. Look like this. No. That's enough for that one. These might be a little bit thicker than in the proper pan. But oh well. They'll taste the same. As long as they're cooked. I really don't like these earphones, but I can't get my Bluetooth ones to connect. Well, by Bluetooth ones, I mean the one Bluetooth one that's not broken. Because one of them is broken after falling in the bathtub when I was cleaning. Okay. I'm going to bake these for, recipe says 50 minutes. I'm going to put them in for 40 and then check it. And in the meantime, I'm going to put the topping stuff on. So this is another 3/4 of a cup of butter. It's probably a little bit less than 3/4, but that's okay. The vent for the oven is under here, so I can just leave it without. Well then, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but that was baked at 325. This one rose a little bit more than it should have, but it'll flatten out again. So, got to be melted chocolate and butter, because you know chocolate and butter, you can't have enough. There's just a little bit of lumpiness to it, but it's fine. So, pour it on top. Save some for this side. Ooh, that was a lot. And you pour it on when it's still warm, which makes life easier because you don't need to time extra things. Okay. Spread this out a bit. It's going to be thicker at the sides, which just makes the edge pieces better, right? Yeah, I wish it was a little bit smoother, but this is what happens when you don't stir your chocolate while you're melting it. And the butter kind of like soaks into the brownie. It's so good. Anyway, my camera battery is about to die, so I'm just going to fiddle with this a little bit more, and then I'll be back once it's cooled to the, well, it's not really a verdict because I know how they're going to taste, but yeah, for the final sliced version, I guess. Okay, farewell. Alright, this is what it looks like when everything's all cooled. Let me get this one out of the way. Yeah, it could be, you could do like a little bit of an icing swirl or a caramel swirl or something if you want to make them look prettier, but I don't really care. So I'm just going to cut a piece. They're very soft. You need to be reasonable about the size of piece that I want to eat right now. Maybe I'll cut 3 pieces. There we go. But it's always the first one that's hardest to get out. So normally in a 9x13 pan, they're not quite as tall. But yeah, that's that. And that's breakfast. Farewell.